If you don't try to create the future you want, you must endure the future you get. Even though it's a wilderness, he's going to give you a way. And even though it's a desert, he's going to give you a river. So no matter what environment you find yourself in, it can be changed. Hello, this is Lorraine, and welcome to Healthy Living, Spirit, Soul, and Body. Today I'm going to be talking about environment. The different things that influence you, the different things that either help your growth or stunt your growth. I'm currently teaching a small group on John Maxwell's 15 Laws of Growth. And this past Monday, I was talking about environment, and I started realizing how important environment is. I thought I'd talk to you about it today on the podcast. So here we are, it's the middle of October, and it is about 60 degrees. I tend to like to be warm, so I have this vest on. But what other things can you do to control your environment? You could wear a coat if you're still cold. If you're warm, you can take this off. So even though you're outside, you can be comfortable. During the day, I keep the thermostat at 65 degrees. So when I come home, it's cool. So what do? I change the thermostat to change the environment. So today I'm going to be talking about different things that you can do to change your environment. So you need to ask yourself, are you a thermostat or a thermometer? When you wake up in the morning, do you decide based on how you feel or what the weather is that it's going to be a bad day? Or do you decide that regardless, you're going to be a thermostat and do what you can to change the environment? So how do you change your environment? How do you change the thermostat? Okay? And I know some people, and I know I fall into this myself. You wake up in the morning, you might have a headache, or you might feel discouraged for no known reason. And rather than just say, oh, I'm going to have a tough day today, you need to change. You need to be a thermostat and not a thermometer. Okay, a thermometer is somebody who senses what's around him. They sense that they don't feel good. They sense that maybe where they work, the people are in strife or competing or whatever, or they sense all these different things. But we don't want to be a thermometer. We want to be a thermostat. We want to affect change, and especially we want to affect change in our atmosphere. So how can we do that? What are the things that we can do to change our environment? So what is your environment? Your environment are the things that surround you that have an effect on your life. Things like, are you hanging around with the right people? Are they encouraging you? Everyone wants their lives to matter. So that's why these laws are so important, so we can be aware of them. First of all, you can't grow unless you're aware of the environment that you're in. Is it a good environment or a bad environment? That's for you to choose. That's important for you to know so that you can make a change. Okay? If we're blind to it, we might think it's normal, but it's not normal. But in order for you to grow, you need to be aware of your environment and make changes. So what are things that we can do to change our environment? What's called in our life problems or challenges. Challenges is something that we really can't change. A challenge is like I'm 5'1", okay, maybe I want to be taller. There's not too much you can do about that unless you're going to wear stilts. So you need to face that challenge and change the environment in the way you're thinking about it. That's how you change that kind of environment. And the other side of the coin are problems. There are different things in our lives that are problems that we can change. Maybe the place where you work is one of your problems. First of all, we need to assess our environment, like I mentioned about the job. We need to see, is it a growth environment or isn't it? After an assessment, make some changes. So what are some things that we can do to change our environment? John Maxwell talks about a few things that I thought were very noteworthy. He said, first of all, that you need to be around great people. Okay, you want to be around people that are growing, that are where you want to be. So there are all kinds of different ways to do that. You need to sometimes, unfortunately, leave people that don't have the same visions that you have. You want to hang around people who are where you want to be. You will only be as good as the people you hang around. The next thing that John Maxwell says is to visit great places. He talks about presidential libraries, but I also love to visit museums, all kinds of different places that you can go to where you can grow and learn new things. Sometimes seminars. There are certain people that I absolutely love, like Teresa Foy and Cheats and a couple of other people, Lance Wallnow, that if they're going to be in my neighborhood, and sometimes even if they're not in my neighborhood, I'll go travel to see them, because I know that when I'm around them, they will teach me things. They build me up. They strengthen me on the inside. They speak my language. So I'm going to go out of my way to visit great places and to listen to people whose opinion I value. Also, the next thing you can do is read great books. John Maxwell's books are all great. Teresa Foy, as I mentioned before, she has so many good books. And here's the other very important thing: learn to nourish yourself. So there was one section in John Maxwell's book about the law of environment where he says, move forward despite criticism. And I thought this was so good that I wanted to read portions of it today. Growth always comes from taking action, and taking action almost always brings criticism. Move forward anyway. To reach your potential, you must do not only what others believe you cannot do, but what even you believe you cannot do. Most people underestimate themselves. They shoot for what they know they can reach. Instead, they should reach for what's beyond their grasp. If you don't try to create the future you want, you must endure the future you get. I just have to read that again because it's so good. If you don't try to create the future you want, you must endure the future you get. Poet Ralph Waldo Emerson observed, whatever course you decide upon, there is always someone to tell you were wrong. There are always difficulties arising which tempt you to believe that your critics are right. To map out a plan of action and follow it to the end requires some of the same courage which a soldier needs. Peace has its victories, but it takes brave men to win them. Albert F. Godfrey asserts, when you take charge of your life, there is no longer need to ask permission of other people or society at large. When you ask permission, you give someone veto power over your life. Before making a major change, seek wise counsel if you can, but then make your own decision. You ultimately are accountable for the choices you make in life. And I just thought that was so good, to go forward despite what other people say. To not allow other people to determine your future. Let's face it, growth takes courage. Living the life that God has for you takes courage. Everything worthwhile is uphill. If you're expecting things to be easy, you're going to die disappointed. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And you have to resign yourself to that. A little bit more about nourishing yourself. one of the most important things that you can do is to find ways to nourish yourself. The Bible says that God makes a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Now think about that. That means that He, even though it's a wilderness, He's going to give you a way. And even though it's a desert, He's going to give you a river. So no matter what environment you find yourself in, it can be changed. Okay? So what do you do to change it? How do you find the way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert? You have to find ways to nourish yourself on a daily basis. And that includes all kinds of things. It includes knowing who you should reach out to that's going to encourage you. Now, a lot of times people go to their parents or their mom or their best friend. But this is where the self-evaluation has got to come in. You got to be real with yourself and ask yourself, are these people conducive for my growth? Are they going to encourage me? So you need to set that, you need to come to that decision before you do anything else. You have to make a decision that you're going to do whatever it takes so that you can grow and go forward. So sometimes it means breaking off friendships. Sometimes it means maybe not spending as much time with certain people, or maybe not going to those people for your nourishment. You can find music, maybe certain artists or certain songs that you can put on in the background that calm your soul, that nourish you. Sometimes I have teaching messages, certain messages that I save, and I'll say, you know, I really could get into listening to that message again about persevering or not giving up. Those are the things that you need to do on a regular basis to keep yourself nourished, to keep yourself in the environment, to create a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. So I hope you enjoyed my Law of the Environment, a little twist on John Maxwell's teaching. But I just think it's so important that we control and we take charge of the things around us. We want to make sure that we're put in good soil, that we will thrive, that we will go on and be all we can be. We can make a difference. We can make our life count. Okay? So hope you have an absolutely wonderful week. Please like my video and subscribe. I am taking this time to encourage you to make a change. Don't get caught in a rut. Pull yourself out of it. Do what you can to make a difference in yourself and then make a difference in others. Okay? Have a great week. Bye-bye now.